30 years. 3 decades of shared mornings, holidays, children, whispered goodnights, arguments over the thermostat, and holding each other through illnesses and milestones. 30 years of living side by side with the same woman, building a life, a family, a future. I thought that meant something sacred, something invincible. I thought I was living inside something eternal. Turns out, I was just the fool who believed in forever. It all began on a bone-chilling Tuesday in November, the kind of day where the sky looks bruised and the trees look like skeletons. I had just returned from a business trip in Dallas. I was tired, worn from travel, but looking forward to home, to Linda, to warmth, to routine. But the moment I stepped through that door, I knew something was wrong. The house was silent, too silent. It didn't feel still. It felt haunted. The air was heavier than usual, as if the walls were bracing themselves for an explosion. There she was, sitting at the kitchen table, both hands wrapped around a steaming mug she hadn't touched. Her eyes were puffy, red, like someone who had been crying for hours and finally ran out of tears. Her lips pressed tightly, like if she spoke again, she might shatter. I dropped my suitcase gently. "Hey, you okay?" She didn't look up, didn't blink, just stared into her coffee, like she was waiting for it to speak for her. "Linda?" I said again, unease tightening around my ribs. She lifted her head, and that's when I saw it. The guilt. Not just guilt. Dread. Pain. That wide-eyed look people get when they've run out of places to hide. "I have to tell you something," she whispered. My brain raced. A health scare? A car accident? Maybe she found out something about one of the kids? Anything but what came next. I laughed, trying to lighten whatever this was. "What? You burned dinner again?" She didn't laugh. And then she said it. I had an affair. Time didn't stop. It crashed, like someone had dropped a piano from 10 stories onto my chest. The room warped. Sound disappeared. My world, as I knew it, fractured into silence. I collapsed into a chair, heart hammering, blood roaring in my ears. "What?" Her lips trembled. I had an affair. 8 years ago. 8 years ago. I sat there blinking, shaking. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. My mind refused to accept it. "Who?" I asked, barely able to form the word. She hesitated. A beat. Then said it like a curse. "Mark. Mark?" I blinked again. My heart stopped. Mark, our neighbor, our family friend, the guy I played golf with, the man whose daughter grew up with ours, who ate meals at our table, who borrowed my tools. "You're kidding," I whispered. "I'm not." The chair screeched as I jumped up, pacing. My blood was boiling now, hot and wild. 8 years? And you waited this long to tell me? She began to cry, really cry this time, but I didn't care. "I should have told you," she choked out. I was scared, ashamed. I thought it was over, that it was buried. "Oh, you buried it all right," I snapped. "Right beside me, every night. In the same bed where you told me you loved me." "I didn't love him," she said quickly. I laughed, bitter and hollow. "Oh, well, that fixes everything." "It wasn't love," she said. "It wasn't even about him. I was just lost. The kids were off to college. You were always working. I felt invisible." "So you slept with our neighbor?" Silence thundered in my ears. I grabbed my keys and left. No words, just rage and betrayal in my wake. I drove for hours, ended up parked at a lake, hands gripping the wheel, staring at my reflection in the windshield. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just crumbled. How could I not have seen it? How did I sleep next to her every night and not know? Back at a hotel, I ignored her messages, one after another. I never stopped loving you. It meant nothing. I ended it. I'm sorry. So sorry. I read them all, but didn't respond. A few days later, I returned when she was out, just to grab clothes. The house felt different. Cold, empty, like all the warmth had packed its bags and moved out. I met with a divorce lawyer, just to understand my options. 30 years is a long time to throw away, but forgiveness? That's another mountain entirely. 5 days later, we agreed to meet in the park. Neutral territory. She looked broken, not manipulative, genuinely shattered. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, she began, but it wasn't about you. It was about me. I was in a dark place. I made a stupid, selfish decision. I just stared at her. Why him? I finally asked. She wiped her eyes. He was there. He listened. He made me feel seen. And I didn't? She looked gutted. You were always working, always gone. I didn't want to be a burden. That word hit me harder than I expected. Burden. She was supposed to be my partner, my wife. She should have been able to come to me with anything. Instead, she chose him. We sat in silence until the sun dipped below the horizon. I got up and left. Told her I needed time. A week later, the kids found out. Our daughter read old messages on her mom's phone. The fallout was nuclear. Screaming, crying. My son didn't talk to her for months. That Thanksgiving? 2 tables. 2 homes. Broken memories. I started therapy. Not for her. For me, just to breathe again. Just to find the person I used to be before betrayal hollowed me out. Linda started therapy too. Quietly. Consistently. 4 months later, I moved back home. Into the guest room. It wasn't reconciliation. It was reconnaissance. A test. We lived like civil strangers. Polite. Distant. Sometimes even kind. I started seeing glimpses of the woman I married. Not the liar, but the partner who once held my hand during my father's funeral. The one who knew how to make my favorite soup when I was sick. The woman who danced in the kitchen barefoot to 80s ballads. She never minimized what she did, never made excuses, and somehow that mattered. A year passed, and one night I sat across from her and asked, "Do you still love me?" She didn't even blink. "Yes, every single day." "Why now? Why'd you finally tell me?" Tears welled in her eyes. "Because I couldn't keep living like that. I didn't want to die with that lie in my heart. You deserved the truth." I nodded, didn't say a word. And over the following year, we started to build. Brick by brick. Date nights, long walks, counseling. Trust didn't bloom overnight, but slowly it sprouted. Every time she reached for her phone, I flinched. But she never gave me a reason to doubt her again. Eventually our kids came around. Tentatively. But they saw the effort. They saw the rebuilding. The betrayal still haunts me. It doesn't disappear. It just becomes part of you. A scar, not a wound. Some say I was a fool to stay. Maybe I was. But I didn't stay out of weakness. I stayed because she showed remorse. She showed me change. She didn't run. She didn't beg. She just stood there and owned it. 30 years didn't make her loyal, but it gave us a foundation worth rebuilding. On truth, this time. She cheated. She confessed. I was crushed. But I didn't let that one moment define the entire story of my life. Instead, I chose to write a new chapter.